It's coming. All right. My name is Tom, and I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in to watch another Epidose. Today, I'm talking with some more of my close friends here from. We all met in the MeatRx meetings, and we have such a good time in those meetings. We'd like to recreate a little of that magic for you so you can see what it's like. And today, we're going to talk about support, because a lot of us really are doing this on our own. We don't have them in your family or in our immediate circles that are on carnivore. So a lot of people might be wondering how exactly they're going to do this on their own. So who wants to start talking about support here? You want to tell us a little about your experience in the meetings, Justin?
Yeah, so like you said, I'm the only carnivore in my family group and friend group right now. My story is a little bit different, coming from a migraine community with Angela Statton's work. And so she actually has a migraine Facebook group. But what was interesting about that group is they're very big on like macros and tracking your ketones and your insulin. And, there's a lot of tracking and stuff like that. So you'd go in with a question and you would oftentimes be hit with, well, what was your ketones? Or, what was the barometric pressure that day? Or, it's like tweaking this like science experiment every single day when it's just like, hey, my head's kind of hurting, just trying to work this out. And I don't think that they tried to be like that on purpose. I think it's just that they have a system that works and they try to just keep everyone like on the same road. But to me, it felt, I always felt like, oh man, every time I'm going to ask a question, I'm going to get like a tongue lashing from one of the admins in the Facebook group. No hate there. I love them, still love the group. But that's the way that it felt. Now, coming over to the more carnivore groups and MeatRx especially, you ask a question and everyone's like, oh, well, how are you feeling today? And well, that's okay that, you ate something that maybe you didn't want to or something like that. Like, there's just absolutely no judgment and no dogma. And I think in some of the groups we've even talked about this, one of my favorite concepts is the concept of the zero carb zen. And I think MeatRx and the meetings really exemplify that, because you can kind of come in there with almost anything where you are. I mean, there have been a few people that are like, this is my first day carnivore. What do I eat, for lunch? And everyone's like, oh, you could try this. Where are you at? Let's go meet up for lunch. Like all of us are like raising our hands and just being like, how can we help? And just like Sean has a lot of awesome energy about, just getting people in the right nutrition into their bodies, and everything else will take care of itself.
Well said, my friend. Well said. How about Joe Zumbo? Where are you when it comes to support?
Well, actually, I didn't have any support. Until I met you guys on MeatRx, everyone just thinks you're crazy. My wife thought I was crazy of doing, or still thinks I'm crazy doing it. Family and friends. It's actually put a bit of strain on some friendships. Doing carnivore, and it wasn't until I met you guys that I thought, what a great community, and I've actually got people that I can relate to and can relate to me. So it's been an interesting journey, to say the least. And look, hopefully down the track there'll be a lot more support out there, a lot more understanding, but for the time being, it's not much unless I join the MeatRx chats and talk to you guys.
What about Raymond? What do you got for us? You just got back from a cruise. I bet that was tough. You're on a giant boat full of people having a good time and food around the clock and booze is flowing. So what's support like in your life?
So I had no support going through, and my wife is she's done it, but at first she thought I was crazy. Everyone around me, nurse, friends, and I'm very vocal about what I'm going to try and what I'm going to do. And I kept getting backlash saying about I'm killing myself. My chiropractor was like, please don't do this. I literally had people begging me not to do this. Okay.
Please don't do this.
Yeah. Yeah. I stuck to it, and I'm like, give me studies, give me something other than just take your word for it. Show me some, golden evidence where there was these trials. Because, I did my research and I'm showing them mine, which they don't want to see. And it made it difficult. So it was to the point where I actually had to use this lack of support to give me the strength that I need. So it wasn't like I was trying to prove them wrong. It was just like, you know what? I'm going to listen to them and I'm going to see what they have. And then I'll judge whether I have more evidence than they do. And then that's what I'll go by. And that's what I did a lot, because I use that as a strength. I'm like, look, maybe they know something. I looked into it. Now, the more I find out, I was like, wow, they're built on sand. And the more strength that gave me. And of course, when going through it, I failed the first time going through it. Again, lack of support. I didn't have you guys, for example, saying, hey, this is going to happen. This could happen. What do I do? And of course I got scared. There were points where I was just like, when I went through the keto flu, I was like, I had nobody to look towards other than everybody telling me, oh, you're just killing yourself. This is proof. Even though if I felt really great the 4 weeks before. So I was like, all right, I guess I'll give into it. But the more I kept on researching, success stories. That was another great point of my support. I just kept on reading about these people, and I'm like, how can this miracle thing actually end up killing me? So that's the big thing. Now, as far as the cruise, I'm 2 years in, so none of those non-foods, that's what I call any carb foods or anything, those are non-foods to me, is even tempting. So the problem about that type of food, though, is that I don't know how they make it. The eggs, the bacon, I don't know what type of sauces they put on some of the meats, the barbecue that I've had. So obviously I did get inflammation from that. And sometimes you just can't help it. This is just something I'm going to have to heal throughout. It'll probably take me, I don't know, a month to heal from it, and get back to my normal shape and my normal feel. I didn't have any negative feeling other than inflammation. So that was good. That's showing me that I am actually, I can stand the poison a little more. That's what I feel. So, but as far as support, I'm not sure how. It was grace of God that I made it this far without a MeatRx community. And even then, I had to meet heals at least that helped me with the anecdotal evidence.
I don't know about you guys, but I know a lot of carnivores come to this from being sick. And when you're really sick, you're also very alone, because you oftentimes feel like you're the only person suffering with whatever element, or even if you know other people that have similar symptomology, for you feel like, man, I just have it the absolute worst. This is my lot in life, kind of like suffering alone. So it's like, maybe it's a little easier for us because it's like, well, we suffered alone, might as well get healthy alone too. It kind of sucks, but maybe that helps get over the circle, because you were alone either way. It's like either be alone and be sick, or hey, kind of be alone and be healthy. And what's funny to me about the carnivore community is I finally found a group of people that were sicker than me, but it's awesome to see them being healthy now. I think it's just, all the transformations are absolutely beautiful.
Wow, Justin, another gold nugget there. That's really well said.
We should just call these Justin Speaks. So yeah, when it comes to support, I'm the only one I know that was carnivore. In fact, I tell people the only other carnivore I had ever met in person before Justin and I were hanging out was Sean. So and I only met Sean because I went to a rowing competition. So I went to Facebook, Sean started that group, World Carnivore Tribe. It's like 40,000 people. And there's other ones like Carnivore Principia and 100% Carnivore and Beyond, one of my favorite groups, Phil Escott's group. And then there was the website Zero Carb Zen, which not so much a community and forums going on there so much as like on Facebook. You know, I mean, as much as a lot of us don't like Facebook, there's still a lot of people there, and it's still a good place for people to have a common interest. I wound up starting Autistic Carnivores I thought if I was lucky, there might be 20 people that will in Autistic Carnivores. Now it's like 720 people. So I was a little shocked by that. And I started a little Carnivores Beating Autoimmune Disease group as well on there. So you can find some support like that. And those groups are all international, people from all over the world on there. And then, of course, now you're going to see people on Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that, too. I mean, perhaps private groups on Facebook are a little cozier, but yeah, I don't think if all that stuff wasn't in place, we probably wouldn't have a place like MeatRx. You know, it's right now it's still January. MeatRx is still giving, I think, people their first month free, and then you can be in meetings like this every day with people. If you join, you check it out for a month, and it's only like $10 a month after that. And I think this level of support where people are having video chats like this, you can tune in with your mobile device, your phone, your tablet, or your desktop computer, your laptop, or whatever. You can get in these meetings and you could talk to people about everyday problems like, you know, how to survive a week on a cruise ship or whatever the trouble may be. How to live on Scotch fillets in Australia, you know, if you're stranded in Sydney, you know, stuff like that. Or you might even wind up in In-N-Out with me and Justin someday. I'm just going to share this photo here. Let me know when too much is enough. But I don't know if we can even see it. Can you guys see it?
Not
It's
yet.
loading.
There you go.
There it is.
All right.
Oh, look at that.
Nice.
Justin, you had that thing wrapped in paper there in the corner with the lettuce. Why don't you tell everybody what that thing's called?
That is a 4x4, protein style, no sauce.
Yes, and like the good herbivore that you are, I noticed you left a giant pile of lettuce behind when you got done eating that thing.
I did. Very true.
How good was it?
Oh, it's delicious. Like, it's kind of weird because I enjoy eating out more now. I don't know. I think In-N-Out has never tasted better to me. You know, I don't know, without the sauce and everything, with just the meat and cheese. And I remember as a kid, only liking the meat and cheese on the In-N-Out burgers, you know? And then I remember people being like, oh, you have to eat tomato, you have to eat lettuce, you know, it's like, fine, if it's, you know, how much is 2 tomatoes really going to improve my health? So then I kind of forced myself to like the tomato and lettuce on it, you know, with the spread and everything. But I feel like, I don't know, maybe I was onto something when I was a kid. A funny, quick little story. So in high school, I had 2 friends that were vegan, hardcore vegan. And I remember we all went to Denny's one time and I made them a bet. I said, I bet you that I can live longer only eating meat than you guys can live being vegan. I knew nothing about carnivore. I knew nothing about health. Just a stupid 17-year-old that smokes too much pot, freaking mouthing off basically. And now I would really like to look them up to be like how they're doing. Cause if they continue to be vegan, I mean, they're going on like 10 years or more if they stayed vegan since high school, you know? And it's just really funny that I just so happened to be right, you know, when I said that. So I wish I could keep that bet up. I think I bet them like $10,000 or something. It's time to collect. You know what I mean?
That probably turned carnivore.
Like I think you won. Just to finish up what's in the photo, those other things, we call them Flying Dutchman. They're really just 2 burger patties with a piece of cheese melted between them. And there's this whole thing. If you're from Southern California or surrounding areas, you probably have heard of In-N-Out. And they have this supposed secret menu. And a 4x4 protein style like Justin ordered there is not actually on the menu. It's on the secret menu, just like the Flying Dutchman, which are basically just meat and cheese. I think I got a little grilled onion with mine that night. The grilled onion, for some reason, at In-N-Out is magic, even though I'm not a big onion guy. So anyways, that's one way you can go out and eat. You can go to restaurants like In-N-Out. A lot of the restaurants around here where I live, especially fast food, they'll make you a lettuce wrap burger. And if I eat a burger wrapped in lettuce, I don't feel any consequence for it. So it's kind of a handy way to go out. I know I was talking to Lisa Weedman, Dr. Lisa, the eye doctor, and I was telling her that, yeah, sometimes I'll order a hamburger and I just want to eat the bun. And you know what she said to me? She's like, doesn't that bun just soak up all the good fat though? I mean, isn't that bun just robbing you of the fat? So maybe it is better just to eat the lettuce, so you don't have that bun robbing the fat out of your burger for you. So I don't know. Anybody else got any other tips on how they support their carnivore lifestyle?
I know here in Sydney we get something, or at McDonald's here in Australia we get something very similar to the Flying Dutchman. I mean, obviously it doesn't look anywhere near as appetizing as that there. So, and inexpensive as well.
Yeah, a lot of people go to McDonald's or Wendy and just order patties. Most of their branches will sell you just meat patties, and obviously they'll sell you some cheese with that if you want as well. So they may not have the subculture with the cool names like Flying Dutchman, but they will serve it most of the time. So you guys, aside from Facebook and MeatRx and stuff like that, do you guys have any other places you visit for inspiration? Do you have any books you read or anything like that?
I go to my butcher.
You go to your butcher. Talk meat
Go to my
with
butcher.
a professional.
Plenty of inspiration there.
Yeah. I like talking to the meat cutters. I don't have a butcher, but I go to big stores that have meat cutters, and I talk to the guys about it, and then even if you have friends that aren't carnivores, there's a lot of people that love grilling and smoking meat and stuff like that. So that is, and then friends that hunt or fish, they love talking about the game. So how about you guys? You guys have any friends that hunt or fish or anything?
I've got a hunter friend, and every now and then I'll get him to kill me a deer. So, once a year whenever he has hunting, but he also hunts for hogs and all that. And they're a pest here in Georgia. So he'll kill a bunch. And I'm like, hey, bring me as many as you can. So last time I think I had like 3 hogs from him. So that was pretty sweet. So that lasted in my freezer not too long, but anyways.
Yeah, wild hogs are an invasive species almost everywhere in the United States. We have the same problem in California, and of course Texas has it really bad. They literally mow them down with machine guns from helicopters because they have, in the millions, if not billions of dollars worth of damage every year.
Well, it'd be a shame to have them go to waste. That's how I see it.
That's what I say. Maybe we should all just organize a carnivore trip to Texas, and we'll just slaughter hogs and make bacon.
There you go.
We can smoke some ham.
Sausages.
Make some sausage.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Baby back ribs 3 times a day.
Yeah. It's funny. My hunter friend said he won't touch him because he's scared of that parasite. I'm like, whatever. Give him to me.
Yeah, I mean, if you cook it, wild hogs can have trichinosis or something like that, but that's what cooking's for. So, and if you eat a wild boar or mountain lion or bear or whatever from the southern states where it's warm, you can freeze that meat and it should kill the trichinosis. But if you get the animals, you harvest animals from northern climates where it's really cold, then that strain of trichinosis tends to be freezer resistant. So,
or if you've been carnivore long enough, I think I can handle it.
Yeah.
Interesting tips about going to have lunch. So one time I went out with a group of friends to go have lunch, and we went to H Mart. H Mart is like an Asian grocery store / little like bazaar kind of, where they have little mini restaurants. And I was like, oh man, what am I going to eat? You know what I mean? So the cool thing about Asian supermarkets is like they're really big on fresh meat, actually, even more than like an American supermarket. And so I walked around and I actually found like a package of boiled pork belly. So I literally just bought the package of boiled pork belly, you know, went through the line and just, they laughed at me because I just put it there on the table. They're like, what are you eating? I was like, remember, I'm carnivore. Like, I'm just going to munch on this boiled pork belly. And that's all I had. I just sat there and just munched on it in front of them. And, you know, my friend introduced me to his new girlfriend who was a vegetarian trying to go vegan, like right across from me. And I'm, and I'm right there, you know, just munching down on my pork belly and talking about polyphenols and everything and the lectins and all that stuff, you know, because, you know, I'm not gonna be quiet about it. Like, you know, like, why do you eat that way? You know, well, this is why, these are the issues I had, these are the issues that it solved. And so, yeah, I mean, I just, you know, I understand everyone has their comfort level, but I'm just kind of like, I don't like seeing people sick. I was seeing so many doctors, and if me just spouting off a little bit, you know, and kind of going out of my comfort zone, you know, who never knows who overhears your conversation? You know, you could really change a life in a similar way that your life was changed. And, you know, another great thing about the MeatRx meetings is that everyone's so vulnerable. You know, I've been to, you know, retreats where everyone's doing crystals and well, not doing crystals, you know, placing the crystals on you and meditating and, you know, the incense and all that stuff. It's like, be vulnerable, be open, be clear, you know? And then it's like, everyone's still like super shallow, you know, by 5 p.m. And then, you know, I come here to these meetings and man, I've heard some very, like, people got some, you know, life still happens. Even though you're a carnivore, life still happens. And, you know, people are getting divorced. People are, you know, having struggles with addiction. People are, you know, having struggles with other family members. Oh, someone's about to pass away, you know, all that stuff. And people bring all that stuff to the meeting. And I think some people feel shy about bringing it, but it's like, no, that's what we're here for, because it's all part of being carnivore, all that stress, you know, because, you know, the carbs and the plants are just waiting for your moment of weakness, so that you'll just ingest them and then be sick again, you know, or, you know, the food companies or whatever, you know, they want you to give in. And so I think those to me are the most beautiful moments. And, you know, I'm kind of young, but I mean, but I've, you know, it's fun to chat to people, you know, that are 40 years older than me and like just all their life experience and everything. And it's just, it's super great. I love it.
Great points, Justin. So I totally agree with you on that. So the biggest thing is to realize you guys are normal people. It's not like we're all extraordinary and we were able to do this. That's beyond anybody else that could do it, even if we didn't have support. So, you know, I mean, I have a family, for example, I have 2 kids, I have a wife, no support there, you know, still able to do it. So, you know, what I'm trying to say is, can you imagine folks coming in, having this community, even though if it's on Zoom, talking to each other, how much stronger that would be? And I think for me, it would have been a lot stronger instead of having to depend on my research. And, you know, I spent many hours listening podcasts, watching videos, reading testimonials, because that was the only source I could have. This is real life people that I'm talking to now, you guys, you know, that really helps with different experiences. So
yeah, watching videos on YouTube or podcasts, good way to go and get started. I know I try and answer people who post on my videos. You know, I try and respond to people and see, you know, thank them for their comment, or if they have a question and get it answered. I know I've had people that were in my videos actually go back and answer questions for me. In fact, there's one waiting for you, Raymond, since you just got off the boat back to civilization.
Oh, I answered that one.
Did you? Oh,
yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, so that's a nice way to kind of get some support, I think, is, you know, a lot of YouTubers try and interact with people who leave comments, especially if it's a thoughtful comment. So
yeah, I mean, I started the Australian Carnivores and Meat
Meat
Style
Life.
or Meat Life.
Yeah.
on Facebook for that reason, you know, just to make it easier. And this was in March last year. It was just to make it easier for people to sort of, you know, just to say to someone, hey, listen, you got your support. You got a little group here that can do the best they can to answer your questions. But hey, the grocery store down the road selling, you know, a flat iron steak or oyster blade steak for $9 a kilo, you know, go down and grab some, you know. So just to sort of encourage people and not scare them off, you know, by thinking that, you know, it's going to send them broke doing this.
Yeah, just asking people how they do it. Like, maybe you guys want to just describe what you guys eat in a day and where you source your food. You want to tell us how you get through the day, Raymond?
Yeah, so mine's pretty simple. I shop at Costco. Again, you know, when I first started, I was trying to be ethical, going to my farmer, trying to get, it was hard to get ribeye, so I ended up getting more ground beef. And then I realized ribeye is really the answer. And when I did, I was like, I tried it, I felt good on it. So, and I know they're pretty much like what 80% grass fed before they you know, the last 3 months of their lives, that's when they're, so you know, I was good with that, and I knew Costco did a good job. And the other is I'll buy cheese, you know, I'll buy some hard cheeses like it's cheddar cheese or any of the hard cheeses that they have there. It just depends on my moods, but that's it, as simple as that.
How about you, Joe? You got your own personal butcher?
Yeah, so I've got access to a wholesaler who is a friend of mine, and his company is called Meat Station here in Sydney. So I'll go there and get my meat from him. Usually it's Scotch fillet or ribeyes, or he makes these awesome beef patties, and he uses primals. He doesn't use any trimmings, you know, and they're just absolutely amazing. So I get that from him. If I can't get to him, I'll just go to a supermarket near my house called Harris Farm. So it's a fruit, veggies, cheese, everything, meats, and I'll get some stuff from them. And usually they have meat on special, it's grass-fed meat. So I'll pick up a few kilos of that, and you know, until I can get to Norman and get my meat from him.
And how about you, Justin?
Yeah, so I do a couple of different things. I do butcher box. I upgraded to the large box, you know, and it's pretty good. I just feel like my problem with butcher box is that it's not fatty enough. So whatever I cook from them, I end up adding a bunch of butter and beef tallow to it just to up the fat content. Other than that, I go down to the local Walmart, which like me, like 5 years ago would cringe at myself, but hey, it's there, it's cheap, you know. And the Walmart quality meat itself, for some reason, tastes weird to me. So I do like the USDA select, like ribeyes that they have there, you know, which are really good. They have a lot of marbling. They're really fatty. I just throw 2 in a air fryer, you know, and then that's a couple meals for a couple of days, you know. And then, you know, and then if I'm shopping with another friend, you know, I had some bone-in ribeyes from Food for Less last week, which are all right. You know, everywhere kind of seems to taste a little bit, a little differently. You know, I don't know exactly why. Maybe it's just the sourcing and things. But yeah, I mean, it's either hunting down for a deal, Walmart, or Butcher Box. I haven't really consolidated, you know, this is definitely what I'm going to do or not do. Unfortunately, my Sam's Club closed, which is like, what? The Sam's Club closed? You know what I mean? But like we do have a Costco, so I've been thinking about getting a membership because I've heard that's really good too. I do the ground beef sometimes too. When I started, ground beef actually made me like kind of my stomach upset. So, so I tended to do, I feel best with ribeye steaks or like New York steaks. I know that for sure. For there's just something about them. I don't know what it is, if it's just somehow the perfect amount of fat to the protein ratio, or what it is exactly, or it's just that cut, you know, just has very nutrient dense maybe. But yeah, but now I'm fine with ground beef again, and I even do ground beef with butter and beef tallow. So I'm adding in even more fat still because I'm trying to gain weight. I've been trying to hit the gym and gain some weight, so I need to up like my fat and my protein. I try to eat 3 times a day actually, which is a little odd for carnivores, but 3 meals a day, about 10 ounces of beef each meal, whether it be the ribeye or ground beef or whatever. I was doing eggs, but I noticed that probably it was the egg white was messing with my migraines and I was getting headaches still. So I actually pretty much cut eggs. I'll do, like, if I'm on a rush or kind of want a snack, I know we're not big snackers, but if I know I'm going to be going like an extra little long time in between like another meal, I'll do like a glass of milk and 2 egg yolks. And that doesn't seem to bother me. Just raw egg yolks in a glass of milk. Yeah. If I go out to eat, like you said, like In-N-Out, I'll do cheese, but I really don't do cheese at home. I just don't find it necessary, I really don't do bacon. And yeah, so I just keep it really simple. The beef and the ribeyes. Like, if I could afford it, I'd probably just do 3 ribeyes a day and be completely content.
Yeah, I've been myself lately. I'm just doing an experiment. All I've been eating is ground beef. Before that, I was just doing some ground beef and bacon, which we call the Brett Lloyd special. Brett eats that every day, like 3-4 times a day. Right now, I'm just eating the ground beef, and the ground beef I've been getting right now comes from Sam's Club. Oddly enough, Sam's Club seems to carry different meat from Walmart, even though they have the same parent company. I know they've been grinding they grind fresh chuck there usually every day, so at least they were. And before that, I ate a lot of New York strips from there. Probably a little less ribeye. One of the other things, like when it comes to ribeyes, they tend to go on sale around the holidays. I know there's a chain of stores called Stater Brothers where I live, and you'll buy ribeyes for $5 a pound or whatever. And a lot of times I'd vacuum pack them and put them in the freezer. I'd buy a ton of them when they go on sale, or New York strips or porterhouse or whatever. And I do sometimes eat the grass-fed. There's plenty of grass-fed ground beef available. A lot of the grass-fed steaks are horrendously expensive. I know I was like looking at some today. They were like $18 a pound or something like that. It's a little expensive for me. I saw some raw butter. It was $17 a pound, a little expensive for me. So, and I do eat some goat cheese. But mostly, and you could get bison now. So I can get ground grass-fed beef for $6 a pound, $7 a pound, bison for $8 a pound, something like that. And I do have to eat that sometime. I think all of us, if we could, we would eat regenerative agricultural products, like grass-fed ground beef or cuts of beef more regularly, or even I'd eat more lamb if it wasn't so expensive. But it doesn't matter how many goats and sheep I see around my neighborhood. I can't seem to eat them. I have to get stuff raised in New Zealand or something, So I don't know. Hopefully that food sourcing will all get straightened out. I know a friend of mine started a Facebook group. I'll try and remember to put links for all these groups we're talking about in the show notes so people can click on them, see. But a friend of mine started a local group to help people source things like A2 milk, raw A2 milk right from the farmer, places that people can go and buy split a cow, split a sheep or spring lamb or goat or whatever, so that people can go locally, buy locally, get the grass-fed animals if they want. So that's kind of where you got to look, I think, if you want to get that stuff at a reasonable price, because otherwise it gets so expensive for most people we can't afford it.
Just a question.
Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I was just to say, just a question. We talk about support, but what about your doctor? Does he support what you're doing? So I know mine didn't. Mine got very upset with me.
Same.
So
yeah,
mine did.
Yours did support me. Wow.
Yeah. So when I was all set up for an argument when I went in there, and I was just going to tell him, look, man, because I probably get a little obsessive about the tests, blood tests and stuff like that, but most of that's just curiosity. And I was like going to tell my doctor, look, man, I don't expect you to condone what I'm doing, but just work with me, order these tests. At least you'll know what's going on. And when I told him, he just looked at me and said, man, he's like, you can't really, I'm paraphrasing, but he said something to the effect that we can't really argue with results. And he's like, he's like, we don't get results like yours very often. And usually it takes, people require surgery and stuff like that to get these changes. And then, so he was great. And then the next time I went to see him, I took him a book. I took him an extra copy I had of Gary Taubes' Good Calories, Bad Calories to read. And he just happened to tell me that when he got into medicine, his original interest was nutrition, and then he wound up being a family doctor, I think is what they call him, and he was interested in reading the book, and apparently his wife had just had to have a knee replaced because of arthritis. And he saw how like my arthritis, my debilitating arthritis, apparently was gone, and I wasn't taking any medication. And so I think that struck a chord with him. So I do occasionally drop off books. It just I don't make an appointment to give him a book. I just take it to the office he works in and give it to the whoever's at the desk and ask them to pass it on. So I haven't, and I've noticed my healthcare provider has started. I see stuff about keto and fasting and stuff show up in their like newsletters and stuff. They don't talk a lot about it or whatever, but they're not being negative about it. They're not steering people away from it. There's at least a little bit of support there.
Yeah, I think with my doctor, he got, when I told him I was doing keto at the time, I was like, oh no, you're going to have all these issues, and your cholesterol's going to be through the roof. And I said, look, that's I want to get a blood test done, and they weren't very supportive. So I left the surgery, went home, and was looking up low carb doctors. This was before doing carnivore. Then started carnivore, went back to the doctor, said, listen, I want to go see Dr. Paul Masson. Why do you want to see that doctor for? I said, because unfortunately I don't get the support that I need. And so I want to see a doctor that understands my lifestyle and will give me the support that I need and deserve. And I got very upset.
So you have to get a referral in order to do that, or?
Yeah.
You can't just go knock on Paul Masson's door and hand him some money and say, treat me.
Hand him a steak or a slab of meat. No. You've got to, I had to get a referral to go and see him. So, got all my tests done, and I was very happy with it. And I'm actually seeing him in a couple of weeks' time. But yeah, I think it's important to find a doctor that's going to support your lifestyle and understand what you're doing.
Yeah, I understand. Sean Baker's putting together a list of carnivore, or at least low carb. And there is a low carb doctors lists out there, but I think Sean's getting a list together of carnivore friendly doctors. Well, I already mentioned Dr. Lisa Wiedemann, and what's Phil that was in the heart health medicine? Phil
Avadia.
Yeah. So they're out there, and Sean keeps mentioning new ones. So, and I know I had a coaching session with a fella, and he said his doctor was totally on board. So hopefully he'll send his name along, and we'll be able to add him to the list. But there is a growing list, hopefully, of doctors that get it. So. All right, guys. Well, is there anything else before we wrap this up? Raymond, did you see any pirates when you were out there on the high seas?
Actually, there were a lot of pirate themes that on one of the islands. So it's funny you say that. Yeah.
But there weren't any Somalis with machine guns?
Oh no, none of those. Yeah,
No
you know, I saw
RPG?
Blackbeard's Castle and stuff like that. You know, that kind
Oh,
of.
well,
Yeah,
that sounds pretty good.
yeah.
All right, Justin, you got any parting shots for the meeting?
No, not really. Just that, you know, the MeatRx, this is very similar to what we do in the meetings. And just like in this, we do oftentimes go over time, and, you know, someone always throws like an after party usually until the Zoom kicks us out. So, you know, if you're like, oh man, I'm 15 minutes late for a meeting, like hop in anyway. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
usually, like there's always someone around willing to stay usually, and it's usually me or Thomas or Raymond or Joe. But yeah, if you see us there, flag us down. You know, we're always welcome to talk.
How about you, Joe Zumbo? You got any parting words? How many kilometers are you gonna bike this week?
Well, it's been raining here, so we'll see.
Did the
Yeah,
rain put the
we've gone
fires
from
out?
not really, but we've gone from drought to floods. So it's crazy. It's
Better
mad.
fires.
It's mad. It's crazy. But yeah, look, I'm happy to get a few in, a few rides in. I mean, my son is on school break, so it's a bit hard to get out. My wife's at work, so yeah. I mean, when he goes back to school, I'm sure we'll get plenty of Ks in.
Sorry. Well, I think we had a great little video here, and hopefully we'll do another one soon with fewer interruptions from my obnoxious phone. And I'd like to ask everybody, if you would, leave us some comments and please subscribe to the channel. It really makes a big difference if people subscribe, and maybe pass these links along to other people that it might help. And consider going over to MeatRx and trying out their free membership for a month, and come into one of these support meetings if you're interested about carnivore lifestyle, and maybe there's somebody in there with the health issues that you've had, or the fears that you're dealing with, or the addictions that you're plagued with. Maybe there's someone in there who can help you out and advise you. So I want to thank you guys. It's always good to see your faces and hear your voices, and appreciate your time, gentlemen. Thanks again.